Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is using, I'm taking an old stamp set, well, one I've had for a long time, and this is the mini Bird Crazy and Things and the mini Cats and Dogs from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous, I can't talk. And I've got some different distressings, and that's what I'm inking and colouring them in with. I'm using sort of doing a bit of a watercolour kind of thing. And the paintbrush I've got there is just basically the barrel, I don't know what they call them, but the barrel, like an aqua marker thing or whatever they're called. And it's got water in the barrel basically, and that's how you ink. You can use a paintbrush and water, that's fine too. And I'm using a very similar to the previous video. The colours are similar, but more on the Halloween side, obviously. So I have Vintage Photo, Hickory Smoke, Carved Pumpkin for the pumpkin, what are those, buckets, Wilted Violet, and I think I also go back and use a bit of Tattered Rose. Just trying to see my cheat sheet. Yeah, I think those are the colours I used, or the main ones anyway. And I just went around all of them and just kept inking and getting things, you know, different colours put on there on each of them. The Tattered Rose is for like the inside of the ears and you know, that sort of thing. And that's it, super easy, just on some watercolour paper. I then die cut them out. I do have the coordinating dies for the set, as it turns out. And I really like how they cut out. They cut right on the line, so when it cuts out, it's just the image. There's no white outline all the way around, like most die cuts will be like that. And I really liked it. And like even the inside of, like, if there's things like gaps in legs and things like that, it'll cut that out as well. It's really clever, really clever. So these little, like the two orange and the purple panel with the like embossed areas, they're from a previous couple of videos where I used some baby wipes at least, and some stencils and embossing folders to create, with some dye ink, to create like a faux letterpress kind of thing. And I love my favorites were definitely the stencils. The stencils worked the best. So if I haven't linked it and you want to see that, either let me know or just check it out on my YouTube channel and you'll be able to see it somewhere in there. So, and then the sentiments come from my Pink Stamper stamp set called Spooky Puns, and it just this week's videos, just especially with the sentiments and everything else, it just all fell together, so I was really chuffed. And also this made me use some vellum, which I don't often use vellum because trying to stick the stuff is just nightmare. Because you know, it's semi-transparent, so you land up seeing the adhesive through it. So unless you've got like a Xyron sticker maker kind of thing, it's quite difficult to stick it. And also I didn't want this completely stuck down. I wanted there to be some movement. So I mean, it's not going to move, but it's so that it's not completely stuck flat to the backgrounds. But I also needed this piece to be semi-transparent or transparent so that you could see the background still. But I wanted these little guys to sit on something, if that makes any sense. So it gives me the extra layer, but it's not a solid piece of cardstock, so that otherwise I would lose too much of that background, that I'd made, which was the whole point of showcasing as well. So I'm just taking my little birdie. I just think he's so funny. These three out of the set, because there's quite a lot of little different, you know, different birds, cats and dogs, and these three for me looked the scaredest. They're just so funny. So in hindsight, I shouldn't have used wet adhesive. Wet adhesive and vellum seem to not like each other very much, and it wanted to almost like curl the paper. So hence why I've got acrylic blocks, heavy acrylic blocks on top to try and just flatten that a bit while it was drying. It kind of works out, but yeah, we're just going with it anyway. So this sentiment says trick or tweet. So say that 3 times fast. Yeah, I dare you. So I'm just going to keep putting these guys underneath acrylic blocks, and then I'll move on to the next one. So they're all getting the same sort of thing. So again, with the last card, they're all getting very similar things, but these are more, well, they're Halloween themed, as opposed to the last one was a birthday themed set. And you can either give these away as a set to someone, you know, a set of 3 cards, same as the birthday ones, or you could, as a, you know, like if you need a lot more cards at one go, this is a nice way to do that, where you're producing all of the same, they're all different, but you're producing essentially the same thing, so that you create multiples of something. So again, me and my wet adhesive, shouldn't have done it. But it still worked out okay in the end, so I was quite pleased. And I like how I don't know what made me think of it, but I put them on the brooms. So the cat on the broom just is hysterical because it looks like it's terrified on the broom, flying through the air. And especially when I add the little bucket to its tail, I think that's so funny. And then of course the bird was just sort of standing there on the broom with the little bucket on the end, like it does. And then I didn't know what to do with this little guy, so we're just gonna wing it and just put him, wherever. So yeah, the hardest bit, like getting the ideas together, is not so bad, but then trying to figure out where to put everything, that for me is sometimes difficult, especially if I haven't got like a whole scene. Like this isn't really a scene card, it's just, there's like a little element of it, but not really. So trying to sort of figure out where everything goes is just, I'm just not very good at this bit. And then here, just because it's on the vellum, I can actually manipulate the paper so that I can get that bucket to look like it's actually in front of him rather than behind, which is what I started off with. So I just think the sentiments worked really well for these 3 especially. Really funny. And I'm just trying to arrange them so they can flatten a bit. Excuse me while I finagle it. So now I'm going to get some dry adhesive just on the back using my tape runner of all these panels, and then I will stick them all to a card base. These are 4 1/8 by 4 1/8, so there's a tiny border around the edge, and then the like orange and purple panels are 4 by 4. UK cardstock is about 8 1/4 wide, so when you then, to get the most out of your cardstock, it turns out to be a 4 1/8 by 4 1/8 inch card, which is weird, but it's fine. So I could have made it like a 4 by 4, but I don't know, I wanted the most out of it. And I like the American A2 size cards, which are usually 4 1/4. So yeah, so it's 1/8 of an inch rather than a 1/4 of an inch. So I was okay with it, and I think it turned out okay. So now I'm just deciding which ones are going on which, what's the word? Which card base, you know, with the different backgrounds. And for this one, I decided to put some foam dots at the back of each of them. So in order to hide the fact that you're sticking the vellum down, you just need to make sure that you hide it on those areas. So when you stick it down, you won't see it. You won't see the adhesive. You're only sticking it to the back of your little stamped images. And I even put some more on the brooms, just because it will just stabilize it a little bit more as well. But I didn't really want the vellum to be stuck down flat, or completely stuck on there anyway, because it just gives a bit of movement. I mean, it's not going to move, but it just gives a bit of movement on the card. Just getting all these little things off. And then, you know, it's Halloween, so we're gonna get our wonk on. Can I say that? I don't know if I can say that. It just sounds funny. So I'm just gonna arrange them all squonk because I can, and it's Halloween. So there you go. Very simple cards again. Nothing too fancy, but at least through the vellum you can see the pattern that's behind it, which was the whole point. If I'd stuck that with a solid piece of cardstock, you would never see as much of that pattern. And if you've gone to all that effort to make your backgrounds, you want to see them. So I hope you like this, guys, and I hope that you're having a happy Halloween. We are nearly... Are we in that week yet? No, we're not in that week yet, I don't think. We're not there yet. And I will see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.